Hi, welcome to Live on KEXP at Home. I'm your host, DJ Morgan from independent listener-powered 90.3 FM KEXP in Seattle, where we stream at 90.3 in Seattle at kexp.org online and all over the world on our mobile apps as well. And we are so happy to continue to connect you with live music as we remain socially distant and working from home as much as possible. And all of this is made possible with your support. So thank you so much for supporting KEXP. And we are so happy to be joined today by George Lewis Jr. of Twin Shadow. Welcome, George.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's so nice to be spending this time with you today. Thanks so much for being with us. How are things going? Where are you at right now?
I'm in Los Angeles in my my studio and apartment. That's where I'm at.
Awesome. How have you been doing?
I've been good. I just took a long vacation. I went to Greece and I went to Berlin. Ooh. My sisters live in Berlin, and I had a really good time visiting them.
Nice. That sounds amazing. What'd you do in Greece?
Nothing.
That's amazing. That's the perfect vacation.
Yeah. I swam and rode a little tiny motorcycle around an island.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, welcome back. I hope you're refreshed.
I am.
Good.
I am. I'm like sleepy because the jet lag is real. I always think it's like a myth, and then I'm like, oh God, it's real.
It's definitely real. It is very hard. It takes a couple of weeks to feel normal again. That's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, huge congrats on your new album. The new self-titled record just came out on July 9th. I love it so much. It is such a joyful record. It makes me so happy to listen to it. So just huge congrats on the release of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And you recorded that in the Dominican Republic, right? Can you tell us sort of what you've been up to since? I guess we saw you the last time at KEXP back in 2015, and now we're here in 2021 with this new record. Love to just catch up with you a little bit. And how did you end up in the Dominican Republic, and how was the process of recording this new album?
Yeah. I recorded about half of it there, and then half of it here in Los Angeles. My parents live in the Dominican Republic, and they have for the last 10 years or so. They've moved back there sort of when all the rest of the kids had finally gotten out of their house. I've been out of my parents' house for well over 10 years. But they eventually moved out there. And so I'm kind of always going down there. And before the pandemic, obviously I was going down there more frequently and wanting to be down there more often. So it's really I've sort of made it a point to kind of bring back. I was born there, and I've made it a point to kind of go there as much as possible now. Obviously, that got slowed down over the last year and a half. But I really plan to kind of make that a sort of home base in a way, not for living, but maybe for recording, and spend a good amount of time down there every year. It's been it was a long time coming, this recording. I worked on it. I worked on it pretty quickly once I started getting going, but between Caer and this album, there was just tons and tons of music making, tons of writing, and just stuff that I wasn't feeling until I got to this record, that it was kind of congealing into sort of one sort of aesthetic, I guess, or one sort of sound. And as soon as I went down to the Dominican Republic and got songs like Alemania off the ground, I started to kind of see what I wanted it to be.
Cool. Where did you end up recording in the Dominican Republic? Were you in a studio? Were you in a house? What was that like?
Yeah, I know some guys down there, and they have this really beautiful studio called Fama, which is like, it's like a state-of-the-art studio. It's like a gem in the middle of the capital. It was really kind of luxurious, you know. It's I think my friends all think that I was because I have my family has a little tiny shack that's in the countryside, and I think my friends all think I was like sat down in the shack with like power going out every 2 minutes, but that wasn't the case. I was in a very luxurious studio in the Dominican Republic, and it was really nice to be there.
Did you? How long were you there? Were you recording? Was this before the pandemic that you were recording this?
Yeah, it was. It was. I started probably in November 2019. Is that what it is? Yes, yeah. November 2019. I started this record. Yeah, and then came back right around February actually, and then it was was walking around LA for like a week, and then everything went on into lockdown.
Whoa, crazy. And then once you were in lockdown, were you working on producing the record in LA at that point?
Yeah, I was. And it was nice because my twin sister was, she kind of got stuck here because she was supposed to have like a museum show or something here in LA. And she got stuck here. So it was like the two of us in the house. And it was, we just kind of like bunkered down, and she started working on something she was working on, and I worked on my record, and we just like cooked beautiful meals, three beautiful meals a day, and just like it was very much that created this sort of this very kind of this consistent pattern of life, not having to be anywhere, not having to be at meetings, not going to parties, not hosting events or DJing or doing social things, sort of created this like perfect little ecosystem of creativity.
That's so great. I'm so glad you got to spend that time with your sister. Man, that worked out.
Cool.
Huh?
Yeah, it was great. I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I have 3 sisters. I'm lucky to have all of them.
That's awesome. I saw your post on Instagram the day that the new record came out, and you were talking about how much joy making this record brought you. And I read that after listening to this album several times, and I already had that feeling just from listening to the record, but then reading your words about it, it was really moving. Did this particular experience, was it sort of a release in therapy from these last couple of years, or how does your relationship with music evolved over these last 15 years or so that you've been releasing records?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say I make sort of a distinction between like music being my therapy and because I don't think of music as therapy. Well, I think of music as therapeutic for other people. For my relationship with music, because I can't even listen to music without sort of analyzing it and tearing it apart and thinking about how to make it. My relationship with music is so complex, and I think what this record is more so like me finding just a very simple joy in the actual doing of it. Sort of like, it's a bit blue collar sounding, but like sort of like, like building something very simple, building a cabinet or building a chair. I don't know. Like it's the process was really joyful. I wouldn't say that it was any sort of like emotional revelation in life that I came to. It's the actual act of making music was very pleasing, where before on previous albums I felt it was a bit more of a duty or a chore or like something. I just felt more free with this record, and I felt more like I was able to just do it because I actually have fun playing music. So many other things in life, you sort of, when music becomes your job, you sort of start to look for fun in other places. And I was doing that a lot, like trying to go surfing, trying to, and I get a lot of joy out of riding my motorcycles, but like like getting obsessed with that thing, this thing, whatever, and you start to pull away from like just playing music for fun, because it's your job. And I just very much was able to wipe that away and come back and really, really just like play music and play my guitar, play a keyboard, play a cello, play anything that I have in my room. I have instruments everywhere, and playing them was just like, oh wow, I love doing this. I could spend hours doing this, and capturing that was the goal of the record, I guess.
You can really hear all of that feeling in this record. It's so good. And you recorded a live performance video for us. Thank you so much for doing that. I would love to get to the first couple songs in these live performance videos. Sure. From the new self-titled Twin Shadow record, we're going to hear Alemania and Lonestar. But before we get into this first song, what is Alemania about? Is that the word for Germany?
It is the word, yeah. It's a Spanish word for Germany.
Cool.
It's just about, it's sort of just like a recollection of meeting a really beautiful person in Germany, and just like when I first went to Europe when I was younger, I first went to Copenhagen. That was the first European city that I visited, and I liked it, but everything changed when I went to Berlin for the first time, and that time period in my life it really influenced me in a lot of different ways, and so this song is just sort of this like foggy memory that I have of that time, and full of its inaccuracies and it's nostalgia and all that stuff. But just this like song sort of, it's not really it's not like a very like patriotic German song, really. I mean, that's why I use the word Alemania, because I think it's such a beautiful, it's more of like the name of a person than it is the name of a country.
Totally. This is Alemania from Twin Shadow, from the new album Twin Shadow. It's live on KEXP at Home.
2, 3.
Can you remind me when memory's hazy? Exactly how and where we meet. Little Elba in the harbor. You lost your purse, I lost my key. Alemania, Alemania, Alemania. So the next day, inside your warm flat, where your carpet burned your knee. We were healthy and looked like a couple porn stars from 1917. Alemania, Alemania, Alemania. I remember like the Elba, we were slipping out to sea. I could see us 2020, not as fast now, not everybody's free. Alemania, Alemania, Alemania. Alemania, Alemania, Alemania.
Twin Shadow live on KEXP at home. I'm DJ Morgan speaking to George Lewis Jr. of Twin Shadow. You just watched the live performance video for Lonestar, and before that you heard Alemania, both from the new self-titled record that just came out on July 9th. I love these songs so much. They're so good. What's Lonestar about?
It's a pretty self-explanatory song. It's just about the pride that people who do feel like loners, or people who feel like they've really sort of made themselves, I guess, taking hold of that pride and being good with it. In my life, I'm a very social person, but I found that in music I'm very much a sort of loner. I like to work in the studio alone. A lot of my career I've kind of spent inside of that, me doing a lot of things. And that's not to say I haven't had a lot of help along the way, but I tend to lean towards that kind of like solitude thing. And also just like the several times in when I was first playing music in in like the kind of like indie punk scene in Boston when I was younger, I always felt like my band at that time was, we were always kind of like in this weird place where we didn't fit in with this kind of like really bookish indie rock, and we didn't fit in with like hardcore or punk really. We were somewhere in the middle, and we were like this kind of wild flower in the middle of all of this. And a lot of the song is like sort of about that time as well, as like this time when I felt very much like musically I didn't fit in, and you know, I've felt that way about Twin Shadow, the project, many times. So it's just sort of this kind of like a reminder to myself, really, about that it's okay the way that I go about things, and to trying to remind myself to be proud of being independent.
Yeah, from my perspective as a Twin Shadow fan, you're not fitting into that indie narrative at the time, especially when Confess came out, because that's really the first album that I knew about you. You really stood out, and it was like one of my favorite records of that year. I actually, so when that record came out, that was my first year DJing at KEXP, and I was I was looking the other day of like, oh, what albums are my top played, and still to this day, Confess is like one of my most played albums.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Your individuality is good. It made you stand out.
Thank you.
The performance videos, you're in a really beautiful setting. Where was that recorded?
That's in my dear friend Win and Guillermo's backyard, with their new baby Nalo Moon watching on the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's in I don't even know what that neighborhood is. It might be Pasadena. It might be Highland Park. I'm not sure which one.
Cool. Who were playing with you? There was a bongo player and a cello player.
Yeah, that's my two friends, and we. What's cool about it is literally I was recording the songs by myself, and then they were just around, and I was just like, "Get in here!" So it was last minute. We didn't even really rehearse it. It just kind of like came together.
That's cool.
So that's Guillermo Brown and Austin Smith. Guillermo, who is he's the drummer on the Late Late Show.
Oh, cool.
The James Corden show.
Yeah.
And Austin's a good friend of mine, a great musician.
Is that little dog? Is that Guillermo's dog?
Yes, that's Guillermo's dog. These people are they're truly some of my best friends. And I realized later, I was like, I don't even know the dog's name. It just is always that dog that's just like, you almost don't see it. It's just always like shivering in a corner somewhere. It's one of those weird small dogs.
He likes live performances apparently, because he was very chill.
Yeah, he was chilling. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I like this groove. This is good.
I think his name is Peanut, or people just call him Peanut because he's small. I don't know.
That's a good name. We'll call him Peanut.
Yeah, I forgot to credit him in the credits.
Well, listeners know now. We're talking about him. So this new record, this is your first record where you've moved away from other labels and you released it independently as your own label. You had previously worked on 4AD and Warner. What was the experience like doing the whole thing for yourself?
It was a lot of hard work and a lot of sort of trusting a team of people who I hired to do certain tasks, to certain jobs. A lot of trusting people, just like showing up more, like we like, it was the first time where I like consistently we didn't go to meetings, but having Zoom meetings every week about the label, about the release. partnered with Ingrooves for distribution, and I was very thankful for their support. And it was a lot of hard work, but in the end, it was like it's very rewarding, because from a business standpoint, you start to see how you can be so much more sort of efficient with the money that you do have. You sort of like can prioritize, you can see where like some marketing thing, some place where you're putting money towards marketing, you can see when it's not working, and you can sort of make that decision to stop feeding that thing. And you can kind of pivot, and you can try to see what works. And you can also in general, you can make a lot more kind of ethical decisions with your money, because you ultimately are the yes and no. And you don't have this veil where people are spending this marketing budget however they feel, and if it's not working, they might not be paying attention to it because they've got 20 other projects that they're working on, and that it averages out that it usually kind of works. And so if it's not working specifically for that artist, they just let it ride. So it's nice to be a part of the business in that way. I'm not gonna like glamorize it and tell everybody that it's fun, or
there's a lot of stuff that's a drag about the business aspects of it, right?
I mean, the music business is not a pretty place, like there's no myth really there anymore. It is it's nice to start to feel like I'm really in control of the whole thing. It feels a lot better. I feel more present inside of what I'm doing with my career.
That's great. The label is called Shri Shri, Suicide Song, yeah?
Yep.
So cool. That's a great name.
It's my favorite song ever written.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Are you planning on putting out other artists on your label, or are you just kind of doing your own stuff on it for now?
I want the label to be sort of centered around the idea of, for sure, more important than putting out artists, but being a place where like to develop artists, to help people with production, and sort of this more like a little bit more of a collective kind of feel. But honestly, the main goal was to put out my record, and the main goal in the future is also to put out my music independently. And that'll be kind of the number one goal for a while until I have a collaboration that sort of takes the focus.
Yeah. I'm DJ Morgan speaking with George Lewis Jr. of Twin Shadow. We have a couple more songs I'd love to get to. The next song is from your 2018 album, Kair. It's Saturdays, which I love this song. I'm sure people tell you this all of the time, who are around our age, in our 30s now, that you nailed the feeling of being a 90s kid. You can probably see I'm in the Black Lodge right now, so I have lots of 90s taste. Can you talk about that song? Were you a Nickelodeon kid? Did you watch a lot of like 90s TV?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a child of MTV's, MTV's golden era. For sure. Yeah. It's funny, I was always funny, like, well, on my first records when people would give me so many 80s comparisons, and I found myself kind of being like, well, obviously we grew up with a lot of like 80s hits on the radio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But some of the deeper references that I like didn't know, and I was like, I'm really sort of a 90s kid because I was raised by like 90s MTV.
Yep.
So I think that was, I don't know if there was more to that question, but yes.
No, just like, what was the feeling behind Saturdays?
Oh, Saturdays, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun, to be honest. A funny thing about Saturdays was I actually wrote that song specifically with Chaim in mind. I sort of like wrote the song thinking I'd send it to them, and I actually think I did. I think I sent it to them almost like 2 years. That song's like old. I sent it to them 2 years before I even recorded that record, I think. And I think they were like, "Oh well, you know, we're writing all of our songs, and but we're doing co-writes." And then I think I worked on a song with them on their not this last record, but the record before that. And so the song was just sitting there, and I was kind of missing a song for Kair, and last minute I kind of pulled it out, and I was like, "This is a good song. I should try to record this, and I should try to get the girls on it. That would be really cool." And it worked out, I don't even really know the inspiration behind the song because it's just that old. But I always thought of it as a country song, strangely. I still hear it as a country song. I don't think anybody else does. But a lot of times when I write, I have this sort of thing where I just think that my songs are really just country songs. I just change the production.
Yeah. I'm watching the Ken Burns country music documentary.
Oh, cool.
For the second time. I've already seen it, but I'm watching it again. But I can't remember who said it, but I think it was Loretta Lynn. She was like, if you write your truth, no matter what genre you're writing in, that's country.
There you go.
So you could think about it like that.
There you go. Absolutely. That's true.
Yeah. This is Saturdays from Twin Shadow, live on KEXP at Home.
Slipping away, this could be your last time. Care about everything you say. This might be the last ride. Every rule could fall right under our feet, sink into the ocean. This would be a lost street. When you open your eyes, it's like nothing's real. There's a big white lie waiting for you to pull out the truth. like a lonely satellite. Even in my early innocence, I can never really connect. I don't know how you do it. If you cut me again, we'll be more than friends. I don't think we could lose it. Though our sorrow feels the same. Girl, you taste like sugarcane. When our love starts to feel like lightning, I bring my heart back from the dead. And your face holds a piece of that light, turning our hearts closer to red. Though our sorrow feels the same. Girl, you taste like sugarcane, and our sadness looks the same. Still, you taste like sugarcane. Where you go, chasing your mountain, stay here, holding my finger. Taste what you wanted, though our sorrow feels the same. It tastes like sugarcane, and our sadness looks the same. Still, you taste like sugarcane.
It's Twin Shadow live on KEXP at home. That was Sugarcane from the new self-titled record that came out on July 9th. Can you tell us a little bit about Sugarcane?
Yeah, Sugarcane was a song that had a completely different production. It had this really sort of modern, almost R&B, hip hop kind of feel to it, and it was something. It was kind of like Saturdays, where the record was almost done, but I felt that I needed something with a bit more tempo and that just kind of really like whirled by you. And so I took this old song that was much slower and I sped it up and just kind of put the similar type of drums on it, and it started to take shape. And it was wild, you know, like it just kind of it happened because the song was already written, and I don't even remember when I wrote it. Again, it's like a song from probably 3 years ago. But because the song was already written, producing on top of it is always just so like I do it so fast that I almost don't even like know what I'm going for. And it's all just impulsive, and that's part goes back to that thing of that joy of playing music. When you've been playing music for a long time in your life, it's so nice to finally allow your like just instincts to do the work, and for you to not think too much about reference or think too much about this or that. It's kind of all inside of you. And I just like kind of quickly reimagine the song. And it was like proof to me of that thing of iteration, which I'm not always so good at, or I'm good at it, but I don't always
practice it.
I don't practice it because I get a little bit precious quick about things.
Yeah.
But it was an example to me of how iteration can be really rewarding sometimes, because I went back and listened to the old demo, and I think I maybe have to credit my manager on this. He kind of was just like, you should do another version of that song. Because I knew the song was good, but it wasn't great, you know? Mm-hmm. But I went back to the original recently, and I was like, oh, thank God I didn't put out the original. It's just not even close, you know? It's not even there, and almost unrecognizable in a lot of ways. So I'm really happy about the way that song came out, and I love that song.
That's awesome. I can't imagine that song any other way. That's the song on the record that has been in my head on a loop. Like, that's the one. So
that's great.
Very, very good. I wanted to ask you, I saw on your website that you posted a phone number that people can text. Mm-hmm. Have you been getting a lot of people texting that number?
Yeah, I have like this, like, it's like an app on my phone that's like a number. There are a lot of texts. I have to admit, I've been really bad. I was really good at answering them all and communicating with the fans, and then it got sort of overwhelming with everything else going on. So I actually have a lot of people to get back to.
Are there any
on that?
Are there any like really good ones or any weird ones that you can share?
There are always weird ones. There are always there's always weird stuff. There's always great stuff. There's sometimes there's really negative stuff, which is like, sometimes that's the most entertaining in a weird way. I don't encourage it, but sometimes you want to hear somebody just kind of like tell you off for no reason at all. It's good to balance everything. Yeah.
That's true. When we DJ at KEXP, we have a live listener text line. So I get all kinds of texts just like that, where it's like, wow, that's very random and specific. I think my favorite text I ever received, and it was an accidental text, was, bro, this Costco smells like street tacos. To this day. And I think about that line in my head all the time. Bro, this Costco smells like street tacos.
That's like a life philosophy, I think. You know, you could gain a lot. Just like, that's a good mantra, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I saved that one. Have you been playing any shows since before you went to the DR?
I haven't played a show. The last show I played was in the DR. While I was recording my record, I went and I met this bar owner, and I was like, he was a fan, and I said, oh, why don't I show up tomorrow night with my acoustic guitar and we'll do a show. No microphone, no nothing. Like, we'll just do it. And that was the last show I played, and that was 2019. I did play my friend Eleanor, who has a company, Norts. I played like an opening for her. I just played 2 songs, and that was really fun. But I haven't played a live show in forever. I'm currently in the process of rehearsing a new band for a couple of local LA shows, and maybe one festival that's called Mid by Midwest, that's outside of Kansas City somewhere. But it's sort of, this COVID thing is just like, it's that shadow that's hanging over us that might come back and just really ruin things again. So we're not really making huge plans to tour just yet, which is a shame, because I feel like this is probably the most like live worthy album I've made. But we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, you can play it eventually someday.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see these songs live. That's gonna be really good.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope the rest of this year mellows out with COVID. That'd be so heartbreaking to watch everybody have to cancel their tours again.
Yeah, totally.
It's smart to play it safe on that. So you have one more song for us, and this is an older one. We were mentioning 2012's Confess earlier. This is from that record. First of all, can you believe that Confess is almost 10 years old next year?
I know, that's wild.
That's insane.
That makes me think about how old my first record is. It's almost it's 11 going on 12,
That's
I guess.
right. 2010, wow. Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So much has changed, obviously, since then. Do you have any favorite memories from the time of the release of Confess?
It's funny. I want to stay in my positive vibe, but I'm also a person who thinks that darkness is just as valid as lightness. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, Confess was a very, very dark, kind of sad time in my life, and I think the record has a lot of traces of that. And it's funny because to talk about the song "The One" in particular, mm-hmm. I always loved the song. I always thought it was such a good song, but I hate the way that it is on the record.
Oh, interesting.
And that's why I've always done this kind of alternate version of it, because I felt like I wasn't in the right headspace at the time to mm-hmm. record that song the right way, which is, that's kind of the hopeful line in all of this, is that it's beautiful the way that when you have written something and you sort of have ownership of that composition, or ownership of the words and the melodies and all that stuff, it also means that you kind of get to you have the license to change it, and you have the license to keep iterating on your ideas. And there's something really beautiful about that. And that's why I still play that song. I still love it. It still sort of reveals itself to me in different ways every time I play it.
Yeah. I think everybody's going to really like this version. Let's watch it now. This is The One from Twin Shadow live on KEXP at Home.
Cool. Here we go. I'm in love with the unlovable. You're all in with the cruel world. There's something that's missing, but there's something about you. I'm all eyes for the coldest star. You would do the unthinkable for me. I can't believe sometimes I let down the one who did. I can't believe sometimes I lost the one who cared. So I'm putting all my love on the one who's always there, and I'm sending down my love to her. I'm putting all my love on the one who's always there, and I'm sending down my love to the one who's always there. Well, I'm in love with my memories. You're alone with my stuttering heart. There's something that's missing, but there's something about you. I'm all eyes for the coldest star. You would do the unthinkable for me. I can't believe sometimes I let down the one who dared. I can't believe sometimes my love to the one who's always there.
It's Twin Shadow live on KEXP at Home. I'm DJ Morgan from KEXP, speaking with George Lewis Jr. of Twin Shadow. George, thank you so much for spending all of this time with us today and for the wonderful performance. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Hopefully, when we're on the other side of this, we will see you playing in Seattle and you can come to our new building finally.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to play Seattle again. I really love Seattle. I actually was there. My sister was performing there, and I did the music for a theater show that she did.
Oh, really?
And it's called a place called On the Boards.
Yeah, On the Boards.
Yeah,
that's close to our building. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually was technically the last performance I actually did in 2019 in America. Was there at On the Boards, working for her production in a piece called Minor Matter.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really love Seattle. It was great.
Cool. We cannot wait to have you back. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You too.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in and watching. Make sure to subscribe to the KEXP YouTube channel for more of these live on KEXP at Home performances. And you can head to our website, kexp.org, for lots to read on music. You can listen to KEXP streaming there. Or, of course, if you're in Seattle, you can tune at 90.3. And we will see you next time. Thanks so much for supporting KEXP. It's live on KEXP at Home. Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.